I've been wanting to share spellcaster build for quite a bit, but I just haven't found anything worthwhile. And I'll ask you to lower your expectations, I guess, because this isn't necessarily something that's very strong, but it's more interesting, really. And yeah, I thought I should share it for that matter. So this is mostly a generic crit cold casting character, except we're playing it as a witch hunter. And that's due to the Witch Hunter's ascendancy, where you get these physical damage corpse explosions on a 10% chance, or 20% if the monsters are either undeads or demons. Thankfully, most of the game mechanics that improve monster density happen to be demons and undeads, this being Delirium, Breach, Beyond, even Expeditions. So that's probably something that you can rely on for treating it as 20%. You can go even further and min-max the different biomes or map layouts, I guess. Figure out which one of those have more undeads and demons, and then run those. But yeah, like, even beyond that, I'll save this breach for after the boss, I guess. Even beyond that, like, the interesting bit is that, unlike attack builds, spellcasters don't really have a way to get proliferating explosions, really. But this is probably the only one that I've found as far as solo self-found goes, where if you get enough gain as extra cold, you can have your physical explosions deal enough cold damage to freeze. So then if you link that with cast on freeze, you can get a situation where killing a monster exposes it for physical and cold damage, which then freezes. And then you support that with cast on freeze freezing mark, which is weird because it's an attack, right? But it also counts as a spell. And then most of the tree is generic cold damage rather than attack or spell specific stuff. So then you can scale the damage of the freezing mark, where it's one-shotting monsters, and then that's proliferating more of the Witch Hunter explosions, hopefully. As I said, it's not fantastic, it's not the strongest, but it is interesting. And perhaps there's something similar to do with, I don't know, other damage types, or other cast on spirit triggers, maybe? But yeah, whenever you see the, like, Witch Hunter circle proc, you can be almost sure that everything that's within that circle is going to be just outright dead. It's kind of funny too, because like, I originally intended this to be played off of Ice Nova as your main clear skill, but it just wasn't dealing that much damage, and Frostwall, I'm guessing they intended for you to drop the wall and then blow it up with a separate skill. But with Monster Collision, it's just kind of janky, where you can kind of throw the wall underneath or just jam it into the monsters, and it'll just proc off of itself. So, I don't know, like, it's a more efficient way to go about it, I think.
Another notch on my helmet.
But then whenever you're not able to do that, then yeah, you can just throw in Ice Nova onto the target to detonate it. Yeah, it just blasts everything. Whenever it procs, at least. It's always a nice sight. I wonder if this one's the boss. Could be orange, so probably not. Ah, there we go. Good. I was intending on doing the breach for the boss fight, Yeah, I guess we can do that. We'll just have to play it safe, or play it smart, and not die to the boss.
No mana.
So that should do that. Wait for cooldowns.
Out of mana.
This is like the big golem, I think. Yeah, okay, it is. Maybe the little ads can also help us here with some corpse explosions, hopefully. Just wait for the noble.
Not yet.
Well, it's pretty good damage, right? Like, it's nothing crazy, especially after all the one-shot builds I've been posting. I also forgot to use my crossbomb and sigil, because, I don't know, I'm dumb like that, I guess. But it's a chunky amount of damage. I don't know, it's serviceable, I find.
Not yet.
I'm not the most well-versed with spellcasters, and I've been wanting to stay away from the usual mana stacking scaling that they're usually tied to, so for that matter I'm quite happy with how this turned out. But yeah, let's do the breach now. This is kind of where the whole chaining explosions things is more visible due to monster types, but also the density more so.
Easy.
Yeah, you just get like flashbangs. It's beautiful. Now, if only we had more ways to get spellcasters to do that consistently without having to resort to like terrible jank such as playing Witchhunter. Whatever works, works, right? There's no more here. Maybe this way. Oh, I skipped some rares as well. It's a little bit odd. Let's just get this rare and I'll pull it out. Alright, I'll stop this here and I'll jump straight into a flip of an invoker doing a breach so that you can compare the clear on both of them. Alright, so this invoker is basically built the same way as the Witchhunter. It is slightly lower leveled. This zone is also a lower level map, but the damage should be more than fine because as an invoker you get to ignore monster resistances on your crits, and the position that you start at on the passive tree makes your paving way more efficient. But yeah, I'm not sure if this is going to kill me, but even if it doesn't, it should demonstrate how I'm not able to clear packs as large, and I might get overwhelmed with mobs. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not one of those bait breaches where you get like 0 density out of them. So yeah, comparatively, that's kind of what the Witchhunter is providing, just like substantially more clear, which will scale with monster density as you level up your Atlas and get more monster density on it. Probably notice, like, I'm trying to play this safe, not die, obviously. Like, no need to change people's opinions. But yeah, you can probably tell that I was backtracking a whole lot and playing way more cautiously. Whereas with the Witchhunter, you just tossed the wall, jammed it in there, and everything popped. So, the character, how is it built? Let's look at the gear. I'm not gonna downplay it. I got a really nutty staff. Like, this is more or less exactly what you would want. Like, maybe higher tiers on the modifiers, but yeah. You're primarily looking at gain as extra cold and increased cold damage, because this is also generic. And then increased spell damage is fantastic, plus cold spell skills as well. I don't know if there's anything else that I'd want on this staff, so yeah, probably just like the same with higher tier rolls. And then on your two sockets, you just grab more gain as extra cold. As far as the base type, the sigil is actually really good for single target, so yeah, it's pretty good. And the rest of the gear is energy shield, maybe some life. Oh, this amulet is good because of the plus spell level. But yeah, energy shield, life, resistance. Some attributes, some mana is good. It's fairly straightforward. Then for the gems, we'll just get Sigil of Power out of the way. You got increased cooldown recovery, faster casting, and more duration. But yeah, so the main gimmick is that you need Ice Nova to deal enough damage to proc the Ice Walls. So even if it's not your main skill, it's still not a bad option to 5-link this before you 5-link your Frost Wall. And Ice Nova has a nice amount of increased freeze buildup, so that's also nice for cast on freeze. And since you're using Cold Snap, you can always just combo Ice Nova into Cold Snap. So you got Astral Projection so that you can throw the Ice Nova away from you rather than casting it as a Nova. Makes it way safer. Unleash so that you cast multiple iterations of it. Spell Echo for the same matter. And then Pinpoint Critical so that it's critting. You can't really use Ambush or other supports because you get multiple hits, right? So you want all of them to crit. I'm using Verglass as my fit, but I'm not sure if it's that good. Like, it's only good in conjunction with Frostwolves, so maybe you could use something different here. Cold Snap, you use it to proc the Frostwolves at time. You pop random mobs that are frozen, like stray mobs. And it's got an AoE tag, but you mostly use it for single target, so that's why this is supported with Conk Effect. Elemental Focus, because it's a payoff skill and I can't freeze anyways. Cold Mastery, so that it deals more damage. And then Inevitable Crypts, because you don't use this very often. You don't spam it that much, at least not normally. So it gives it some time to reload. Frostwall, which is where you're getting your like the brunt of your damage from, is supported with Spell Cascade, so that you cast multiple walls per cast. You got Icicles, so that your Ice Nova is able to pop it. If you have more damage, or like you do your scaling properly, you can probably swap this out for something else. Maybe even eventually use Glacier, so that you're getting more value off of Verglass. I'm not sure. You definitely want Magnified Effect here. You can't really scale the explosion on Witchhunter, and Freezing Mark is already large enough, so you don't have to worry much about your clear. But putting more AoE on your Frost Wall is going to make it so each segment explodes on a larger radius, and then the overlapping explosions can possibly hit a rare or boss mob multiple times. And then consider casting for more damage as well. Frost Bomb is there only to apply Frost Exposure for less monster resistances, so you support that with Strip Away. The build is really mana hungry, especially since we're not scaling our mana. We even have some nodes that reduce it, so Mana Remnants is very much necessary. And since we're just popping everything with freezes, it'll proc very often, so no worries there. And then it's supported with Magnetism, because we had 10 Spirit to spare, and it just makes collecting the mana that you'll need more comfortable. So here's the main interaction, which is cast on freeze with freezing mark. Now, freezing mark deals enough cold damage. We're using reach on it. I'm not sure how the accuracy works. I'll go on that rant in a little bit. And then you got like cold infusion and cold pen. So yeah, like the main interaction is going off of this node on the ascendancy. 10% chance for enemies you kill to explode, dealing 100% of their max life as physical. The chance is doubled against undead and demons, so you kind of treat this as 20% chance. Not 100% sadly, so you can't get consistent chains. But with enough monster density, you'll be fine. And then that 100% as physical, you're scaling with the gain as extra modifiers. There's 5% on the passive tree, and then you've got 45 here. So as a base, you've got 50% of monster life as cold damage and 100 as physical. Like you're dealing 150 as a base. And then you're scaling increased cold damage, kind of like from the staff. So the cold damage ends up being well over 100% of the monster's life, whenever it does proc. And then this is freezing, so this is going to be triggering your cast on freeze to apply marks, and then the marks will detonate for a good chunk of cold damage. And then the cold damage is going to kill more monsters, which will hopefully trigger this furthermore. That's the main gist of it, which is why we have to go Witchhunter. Second ascendancy is culling strikes, which helps for consistency, but it's more so because I'd scale here for my third ascendancy. Decimating strikes will remove 30% of monster life, so you can kind of see that as a more multiplier in a way. And I don't know what you would do with your fourth, but I don't know. It is what it is. So for the passive tree, I know it looks bad, but let me cook. I know this is awful. It's like how many? 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 passive points getting you nowhere. And even once you get here, like sure, you get a few relevant passive points, but honestly these aren't as great. On the Invoker variant, I was basically cutting the passive tree here, and all of these points were being applied to something better. But yeah, if you gotta go Witch Hunter, you just gotta make this commitment, which is a bit of a pain, but oh well. These are the only generic increased area of effect nodes, so this is the only way that you can scale your Inquisition explosion. And then you got crit damage, crit chance. Was getting some more crit chance here. You can get more crit multi. There's also some crit multi up here. As far as damage increases, you got the cold damage there. Got crit chance. Some more cold damage here. Damage against hits with ailments will work because even if you get like a tiny hit on a monster, they will be chilled. And multiple explosions of frost wolves will cause every single hit beyond the first to be applied with this extra damage. Same as with Ice Nova, where the first wave will be the only one that doesn't benefit from this, but everything else will. Same happens here. Well, this is even better because like if you're playing fast enough, then you'll always have the 30 extra damage. And then you got some gain as extra, as I mentioned previously. So then the paving kind of lends itself so that you can scale your defenses with energy shield. And yeah, that's kind of most of the build. I do want to like leave a footnote where this explosion being physical also makes it a fantastic option for poison builds, because then you can get like Herald of Plague and you can proliferate the 100% explosion, applying a very, very hefty poison, which will then spread all the way across. I've played something kind of like the Armor Explosion Herald of Plague Poison Corrosion Titan that he had. except going Witch Hunter and then going pure poison. And yeah, like this is a very strong way to build a character if nerfs ever go around that build. So to close this video, I kind of wanted to go on our, I guess it counts as a rant. But yeah, about freezing mark being linked with reach. It does say 80% less accuracy, but I'm not really sure what that means. Like I've tried to research on it as much as I could, and using the experience that I have in PoE 1 about it as well, but I really don't know what's going on. Because it's kind of strange. Like if you look at something as Shattering Palm, it's got this line where it says can't be evaded. So that checks out. But then the explosion doesn't have that line. So does the explosion perform an accuracy check? I don't think I've ever seen it miss, so I don't know what's up with that. And I'm guessing maybe that's why these Nova effects procced by the marks also don't have the line where they can't be evaded. Like maybe these always hit. I haven't seen it otherwise, but it's just a bit strange. And like, you could go along the lines that explosions don't require accuracy. Because if you mouse over accuracy, it states that, where is it? I guess it's evasion. There we go. Evasion grants a chance to avoid enemy strikes or projectiles. Exact chance also depends on the attacker's accuracy, but it specifies strikes and projectiles. So does that mean that attacks that are not strikes and are not projectiles do not perform accuracy checks? I mean, it would make sense why this, being a strike, can't be evaded, and then the explosion just inherently can't. But then that would mean that things like Sunder from mace attacks would also inherently not be able to be evaded, which, I don't know, like something's wonky there. And it's even stranger, because if like all explosion effects can't be evaded, then why do heralds have the can't be evaded line? Like, why do they need this? Isn't it redundant? And then another, like, layer of confusion is, does that mean that armor explosion can be evaded? Does armor explosion perform an accuracy check? Because it doesn't have the can't be evaded line. So I don't know, like, there's a lot of inconsistencies here. And I wish we had more clarity, but from what I've seen at least, freezing mark can't miss, and reach does increase the AoE, so this should be safe. But yeah, I'll just leave this interesting Witch Hunter spellcaster here.